Target tiptem ak tisab arawetab lo kenyitab 2026 chamgei chitab kalenjin itagat eng logoiwekab emet chebo Asai TV Kenya ako nesomonwa ko Gladys Lembuche. Kitaune logoiwechuto kole kaindochi kandoindetab emoni Dr. William Ruto komite eng kibagenge ak kandoik alak cheboto sirindet neo nebo mung'aroshek chotok chemengechen Honorable Susan Auma ne igorta notok ne kakiboiboichi boisionik chekikomuch kokon mung'aroshek anan kibagengeisiek chotok chemengechen chotok chenootin ko micro, small and medium enterprises ne kakiyai eng KICC nganaset notok nebo Nairobi ole kailos ine kibagengeisiek chotok koboto mung'aroshek eng nekamwa kole kikotaban mising uchumi nebo emoni anan kikokanapta uchumi nebo emoni aga tinyei boroindo nebo boisionik.
Today we celebrate the millions of entrepreneurs whose enterprise, ingenuity and determination will build our nation's future. In Kenya, 98% of all businesses are micro, small or medium enterprises. They create more than 90% of our non-farm jobs and contribute over 40% of our gross domestic product. So, when we speak about the future of Kenya's economy, we are speaking above all about the future of our micro, small and medium enterprises. Their success is ours. Their growth is our transformation. That is why, under my administration, the MSME is not the concern of one ministry. It is a pillar of our national transformation. We made it so for a simple reason. This is where most Kenyans earn their living and where Kenya's industrial future will be forged. Across the world, small medium enterprises make up to 90% of all businesses, more than half of all employment, and roughly half of global GDP. MSMEs are not the margins of the economy. They are its mainstream. Those who have already industrialized show us what is possible. Consider Germany, one of the world's most advanced economies. More than 99% of German farms are small and medium enterprises. They provide nearly 60% of all jobs and generate more than half of national output in Germany. I put it to my friends in finance plainly. How can we possibly grow our economy while locking most of our people off the balance sheet? How do we create jobs for youth while refusing to bank them? History offers an illuminating answer. Half a century ago in Bangladesh, then poorer than Kenya is today, a young economist, Muhammad Yunus, looked at the poorest of the poor, who no bank would touch, and asked a different question. He refused to see them as an unviable market. Instead, he saw the greatest untapped opportunity of his time. From that simple shift in perspective came the Grameen Bank, lending small sums without collateral, built on trust and group accountability. The experts called it impossible. 4 decades later, Grameen Bank has extended more than $37 billion in collateral-free loans to over 10 million people of the world's poorest most of them women, and earned Yunus and his bank the Nobel Peace Prize. One man, one idea, he banked the unbankable, and in my honest opinion, Kenya needs this kind of thinking. This is the innovation mindset I am calling for, where the cautious banker sees a Kenyan without a title or a logbook and says, there is no market here. But the innovator sees millions the system has yet to reach and the single greatest banking opportunity in our nation.
Ketokchigei county nebo Kericho ko kakosoma neindochin kiboitinik eng emoni Felix Koskei bororietab Kalenjin koribe bitenywan akonet lagok tuguk chotok chechomtootin asikobit keistoengei chotok cheyachen akot eng kasari yekokoboisien barnotik muswoknotetab kasari eng tetutik cheterter. Kong'ololi Felix eng nganasetab Kericho eng tuyet ne koyai nebo kokwetab boisiek nebo Miot Council of Elders kobun kebeberwek cheterter eng emoni. Winnie Toet ak koindab logoiwechuton.
En tuyonoton kaititab PS nebo kabatisiet Paul Rono, nebo Parliamentary Affairs Aurelia Rono, nebo Immigration Belia Kipsang, nebo Mining Harry Kimutai, Governor nebo Nandi Stephen Sang ak MP nekikitoror Jackson Koskei, neki Minister nebo Ortinwek Franklin Beten kwenutab kandoik alak kokamwochi Felix kokwetab boisiek kokonde tetutik chebo kotikon lagok ak konet bitet nebo keny asikoyapta koityi ibinwek chemiten tai.
Ngimi ole kibisai ko kikochang'a tuguk emet kikokoromit emet biten yo komelen takosubi murechu active kasar kikowalak emet kikoite kele email kikoite kele Facebook kikoite kele social media kikobit radioinik kikobit akot biik chetung'oni lembechek chewendi kabisa chito radio akomwa lembechek kabisa akolechi biik ng'alekochu ako kaptung'oni kot ko kikomusomus emet kot ko kikokwany akot nguno biik akot chekatang'ani bitet ab Kalenjin komakongen kole ki bitetab Kalenjin ko kiingiro eng chekimwoe chu kong'ete subui akoi koimen. Alak kolen bitetab Kalenjin ko kechupkei kewake kandoik amu kingoekitu kokere akokasin radio akokasin television akochubisie eng social media. Kobache ketebeke kokiboisie kele tos kiyai ne asi makitoye ak lagochu kijanaechu akenyoru nafas nekimuchi kireu kot koelewan amune asiketinye atebet ak bitet nekitinye ko kasit noto ko boisiek machorwoj ole si kiliochi kimuchi keng'alale kele une ako kerichonwa ko ne kilion asikerib bitenyo ko kikolenjin kiyoe ne asiketestai keiku agenge ak ketestai kekonyit boisiek ak ketebi ko kibitenyo nekikinoe boisiekab boisiekyok. Role nebo Miot Council of Elders ko ne asikeyat adjustment kot kochutkei simakichelewan mising amanyikerwet kesir amu nyolu kenyoru balance nebo bitenyo ko tradition ak modernity nebo ng'alekab kasari.
Asom ine kokwetab boisiek koker kole kaamda kalyet en kasar age tugul.
Ku kalyet kobo muhimu akot ngimache chi age tugul iyai ki age tugul ngimache iyai maendeleo imache akot irute konyolu komi kalyet. Oker ole nyolu ko boisiechu chenomu kalyet cheneti biik akobo kalyet akoiku custodians chebo ng'alekab kalyet. So ko kalyanato kosire ki age tugul kiyoe ne asikotestai kalyet akokasech bichuchok kijanaechuchok eng ng'alekab kalyet akotestai koek bitenyo nekibo keny kotestai akoi tun.
En komostanyin komwa PS nebo kabatisiet Paul Rono kole kokonde tetutik serikali chebo koyapta mogornotet koityi komoswekab gaa kobun kabatisiet.
Kokintroducen Kofi kobwa gaa asikomokorek akichek biikab Kalenjin kou biik alak. Asi en kenyisiek mut chemi kemi keng'ololen dollars en gaa, ma keng'ololen bandek chekobetyo kityo. Mangemiten olimbo Pokot keleni kityo makial biasinik. Olenjo ki non kewalaken en biasinik chu. Omin chekiome lakini akomin kora chebo mokubet. Ko ikere kokekonok Kofi en ng'omnotet kekonok tuguchon konu rabisiek koba mokubet. Ko en kenyisiek 4 chebwone okase woloksei kalenjin bitu kit nekeiben orano nombo lam. Bitu lorisiek chebendi chebo gaa akobit tekset neketekse kotekse biikab gaa.
En ng'alalenywan ko kaboru boisiechoton magutik chebo bandab tai ak kibagenge nebo bororiet.
Amache osom ongiamtechi kandoikyok keng'alal en tuiyosiek en ng'alek chekororon, ng'alek chekitwogei, ma ng'alek chekichubegei, ma ng'alek chekimwoegei kaina, ma bitetab kalenjin hata kidogo. Kikeny atkinye ko ngeng'olole ko makimwoe kaina nebo chi en kapkirwok. Kiyomotindon ko ngorkosoma kokong'olole koma inegei kunye, lakini kokimakitotonome kainetab chito en kapkirwok. Lakini kasarwechu kitormomi raini, kimwoe raini, kichubegei en taitab lagok, kichubegei en taitab kamatik, kichubegei en taitab boisiek. Ongele yetan kabisa, yetan. Mtoto kandoindet aking'alal en kapkirwok agetugul itebegei ile mi ng'o kapkirwok. Ako ng'ololchin ine kapkirwok. Akisitin ng'alek chekonu atebet neya en bororienyo. Amache osom kabisa boisiet ongiyapte kutinan kele tekisto konyolu en bororienyo kou yekikimi kobotenyo.
Shida nekibit ko kong'eten 1977 nekikitesirei artam oki so oin kubit kalyet ko kimwoe kongoi, kimwochin serikali kongoi ak kemwochin Jehova kongoi ak kemwochi kandoikyok kongoi amu kalyanoet tesetai. Kingen tugul ye momi kalyet ko momi kit nekiyoe. Kandoikyok chekikilewen chebo parliament kesome kere kokerwech kararan amu kimi ak belio keker ng'alekab ng'otutik chebo lagok chebo somanetab lagok chekokoyai lagok tuguk chekimakochamtaat en bororietab Kolenjin. Bororietab Kolenjin ko kikilen etan konam lagok maat ak kokololyo tiong'ik chekimatinye lelut. So kimache kekerwech some bororioni sikechop ng'otutiet komie netyokote eunekab sigik ak tyokote eunekab konetik lakini koma kitiach mising neimuchi komong bunywan nemuchi kobar kora lagok kong'em, lakini komakat keweku korokto. Ndoimu korokto netinye ng'otutik cheribei amu noton nekase lagokyok.
Ng'oliondetab tai banyenye ketekinigei kura. Yaine momi kiy kikure civic education. Sikenet lagokyok bois ak komwaita ng'omnotet netinye, kenetate lagokyok kobikyok maana ya maisha olole maisha wakati huu. Akimwochi ng'alechu tugul tingo boisiechu. Amache kong'irchi boisiechu komamwaita ng'omnotoni wisdom neotinye komwochi lagokwak komwochi biik.
Asom amu county government ketinye nafas kesoch Council of Elders. Ketinye nafas kobunu functions chata manangan kubi komosta agenge nebo culture.
Kayai tuyet en betutab raini kokwetab boisiek nebo Mnyot en taonitab Kericho ole kayomis ichek koboisien kibagenge ak kandoik asikobit bandab tai nebo bororietab Kolenjin. Aripotenjini Asai TV logoiwekab emet kobun kaunti nebo Kericho, kainenyun ko Winnie Towet.
Ak eng logoiwek alak ko kaibet sobet biik oeng'u chebo kot neking'ote ng'atutik nebo Kamukonji yekangobutyi kot nemite siretab Kigomba yekongokwee chumoinik chebo scrap metal eng koyotok kokabityi nyasutietab maat komalo kotinygei ak rubeiwotab Pumwani County Commissioner komwa kole mamite borwekab biik alak chekakinyorta eng komasatak kotinygei ak yautyonotok kit nekanyor toretet eng chokchinet.
Vijana walikuwa pale wakibomoa wakijaribu kuokoa chuma ili wapate lishe yao ya kila siku, lakini dakika kidogo tulistukia tu moto kumebomoka. Kulikuwa na hiyo kiti ilikuwa imeshika roof juu, kuna wenye walikuwa na katana chini, kuna wenye walikuwa na juu. Sasa ikuwa weekend kabisa. Sasa nyakati walikuwa chukua nyakati wanamalizia saa 12 ndio hiyo kiti kaporomoka.
It's sad because there are kids who are in junior secondary school, 15, 16-year-old, and one of the injured is the brother of one of the dead. It clearly shows that the social fabric of our society is unraveling.
Ketokchigei county nebo Vihiga ko tesetai kandoikab Kenya Kwanza korirtoen kandoik chotok chemarobeun serikali eng kit nekamwa kole chutyen neranik kosuldaen bonwekab oret notok nekokisuldaen eng kasitab ang'wan wikit nekosirtoi. Kong'ololi kandoichoton kondochin speaker nebo bunge nebo boror Moses Wetangula komite eng kandoik alak eng county notok nebo Vihiga komwa kole matindoi tetutik alak tugul chebo boisionik cheiborchin biikab boror kandoikab opposition. Kotes Wetangula kosom biikab emet koistoengei ng'alekab bolotet ak kokimit kalyet ak boisionikab bandab tai. Ak eng komasta age kokomiten akichek kandoikab chamaitab ODM kondochin gavana nebo county nebo Homa Bay Gladys Wanga kolos kosubikwak eng amune nemaisuldaen bonwekab oret ole kamwa kole makchinigei boisionikab bandab tai eng komasatak.
Kura ikifika, nataka kila mmoja wenu mujitokeze tupige kura hapa Ingo hata kuliko Rift Valley. Tupige kura hapa Ingo hata kuliko Nyanza. Tupige kura hapa Ingo hata kuliko Mlima.
Kasi kidogo wanaingia kwa gari. Wewe Kalonzo na kuuliza, unasema unataka urais, hata una wafuasi 50 wanaweza kukusindikiza kwenda maandamano.
Mimi niliona there was a lot of peace kwa hii eneo ya Western Kenya na Kenya mzima. Mimi nimeona Wakenya sasa wamegutuka.
Wewe kama una agenda kama Mkenya kuhusa sera kwa Wakenya, enda kando ili Wakenya wengine wazungumzie na wale wako na sera. Hawezi kuchukua watu upeleke maandamano ati hiyo ndio suluhu. Suluhu sio maandamano, ni mazungumzo.
I am very excited with what I saw in Kisumu, that instead of going to the streets to demonstrate against something you don't understand, our people are lining up to register as voters so that in 2027 we vote for William Samoei Ruto for the second time.
By the way, no country in Africa has ever compensated for post-election violence or victims of police brutality. For the first time, Kenya has done it. Watu wa mama kama Baby Pendo sahihi wamepewa compensation.
If we have any issue, Baba taught us to dialogue and not to go on the streets to do useless maandamano.
Sisi tulikuwa tunafanya maandamano, yeye alikuwa anapiga sisi tear gas. Wakati sisi tulikuwa tunafanya maandamano kama watu ya ODM, yeye alikuwa anaenda kwa ofisi yake saa 11 asubuhi.
Kebe county nebo notok nebo Nyeri ko wendi konyorchinigei kelchin kabatik cheboe kiagik chebo chego eng emoni kotinygei ak panganutikab serikali ne kamwa kole kabatik chetindoi chego chechang ak chekororon kowendi konyorchinigei kelchin neo. Kong'ololi minista nebo kabatisiet Mutahi Kagwe eng igorta nekokiyai nebo kabatisiet eng county nebo Nyeri. Komwa Kagwe kole wendi noton kotoreti kabatik konyorchigei melekwek ako toret kokimit kokanapta sekta nebo kabatisiet eng emoni.
We know we are moving on to cheese and we are going on to yogurt and other byproducts of milk. And those byproducts of milk are dependent on the quality of the milk, not the quantity of the milk. That is why we have emphasized and continue to emphasize that the quality of milk moving forward is going to be an important part of it.
Kama umeweka ng'ombe yako mzuri, umeitunza vizuri, umeipatia chakula mzuri, na sababu ya hiyo imeongezea quality ya maziwa in terms of fat content na protein content, inapatiwa pesa mingi tu.
Aging logoiwek alak chebo county nebo Uasin Gishu ko miondo nebo sickle cell anemia ko miondo ne tore korotik eng bortoab kimugulmet ole niton ko bunei chi kaimutik eng kasaratak negoi kosubkei ak nenyolu konyorchigei konyoiset eng atkan kotugul. Cherotich korir ak koindab logoiwechuton.
Clarice Owuor ko kwony netinye inatindoniot akobo sickle cell anemia ne ine ko lakwetab mut eng kapchi netinye lagok 9 ako tinye ine lagokchi.
My names are Clarice Owuor. I'm a sickle cell warrior of 35 years old. Our firstborn passed away with sickle cell disease because during that time my parents had no idea about sickle cell disease. And in a family of, because we were supposed to be 9 but we were 8 because we lost her. And now in a family of 8, I'm the 5th born. I'm a warrior and I'm also a mother of 2 children, a boy and a girl, aged 5 years and 2 years old. Well, I was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia at the age of 2 months old. And ever since then it has been a challenge because at home we are 8 kids but I'm the only one with sickle cell. It's so unfortunate that our firstborn passed, and currently I'm the only one with sickle cell disease.
Eng sabet nebo kotugul eng chi netinye sickle cell ko chang kaimutik chebune cheboto amitwogik ak kerichek.
It has been a challenge because, okay, ever since I was a baby, before my parents get to know about sickle cell, it was a challenge to them. And as I've been growing up, it has also been a challenge because with sickle cell disease, there are a lot of things that are involved, like medication, well-balanced diet, and being hydrated most of the times. With me, I've been taking care of that, which is not hard, but challenges come from medication because the medication are very expensive. But with the AMPATH, we are trying to manage it. So it becomes difficult to those who are not in a position to get medicine because most of the time they end up getting, how do I call it? They are often in crisis, which affects their day-to-day life because most of the time they can't live normal. Without proper care, they keep indulging themselves in crisis. So it is not easy to live a normal life when the medication is expensive.
Kosubkei ak alyetab kerichekab sickle cell nemitei barak, kotinye ine samit nebo chi netinye maget nemie asikomuch kotoret ichek eng ngalekab konyoiset.
At some point, I'm usually helped by AMPATH, and at some point I have to go into my pocket, which really affects me most of the times because when I go into my pockets, I still have to work on my drugs, and working on my drugs is a bit tricky because as I use my pocket to take care of my drugs, I have to be well hydrated and all that. I also have children to take care of, so it's a bit challenging. On a daily basis, for a sickle cell disease patient, you have to be on drugs, water, and well-balanced food, which sometimes is expensive, but we have no choice but to manage it. Maybe if only we could find a way or donors or people who could come in to help, we can really appreciate, because most of us are being neglected, especially in rural areas where people without knowledge think that with sickle cell disease it is it is a witchcraft which is unfair to us. So if it could be a good thing, we could ask for support, especially from the government, to help us at least with the provision of medication, if it is possible.
Ates Clarice kole mite kabwatutik cheterter eng biikab emet akobo miondab sickle cell kobate nyolu kityo kosub arorutik chi age tugul netinye sickle cell chekikiarorchi.
Sickle cell disease, there have been myths that with sickle cell you can't reach 18 years, and it will be better if we are given opportunity and chances to walk around and speak out loud concerning sickle cell disease, because it is a quiet disease that is killing people silently. People have been misjudged with sickle cell to be witchcraft, which is a myth. It's not a witchcraft, and it is a genetic disease. Anyone born with sickle cell can live a normal life, just like any other normal person. And also there is a myth that says that with sickle cell you can't be a parent, which is a lie. If you know how to take care of self, you can be a good parent as a sickle cell disease patient. But the one thing I'd like to advise our warriors is that as a sickle cell disease warrior, maybe you've heard that you can't have kids. My advice to you is that whenever you are ready to have kids, go out there for a checkup with your partner and find out about your genotype. So long as you are a sickle cell disease warrior, if you find out that your partner is of a normal genotype, raising kids can be easy and simple. So the myth that sicklers cannot have kids is a lie. And also we go beyond 18 years. Like me, I'm 35 years old now.
Tinye samet inewekyi serikalitab emoni nebo kotelelchi ichek SHA eng konyoiset.
SHA is very helpful, but I will really appreciate if it could stand in when it comes to drugs. And also if it can cater for us the moment with sickle cell you can get sick anytime. And the moment you get sick anytime, you need to see a doctor. You need medication. And so if SHA could be of help the moment someone is low, if it can help, it doesn't have to be for inpatients only. I suggest if it can help outpatients too, it will be of great use to us, those with sickle cell disease. Yeah, because with sickle cell disease, you can get sick anytime. Yeah, and it doesn't know, with sickle cell doesn't know your pockets, so it just steps in anytime, and sometimes you can be so broke. So when you're broke, it gets tough. Yeah.
Eng komostanyi Alex Kashoya konyolu konyorchigei konyoiset eng kasarta neyamat chi age tugul netindoi sickle cell asikomuch koistoegei kaimutik kobun miondab sickle cell.
Early diagnosis is very important because it helps us avoid these complications that are associated with sickle cell disease. And remember, as I said, so if you have complications with the sickle cell disease, then this patient needs admissions. Most of the time, the complications are very debilitating, like strokes, and the patients might not be able to recover from them. And therefore, if you look at it from an economic perspective, this patient tends to use more resources from a personal, from a county, from a national level if the diagnosis is made late. On top of that, then their morbidity, the quality of life goes down if they get these complications. So therefore, the best way to ensure that these patients enjoy a good quality of life is for us to ensure that we have them diagnosed as early as possible, and then consequently start management and interventions as early as possible. Secondly, on the interventions, there are many. Sickle cell is a multi-systemic disease, means that it involves a lot of systems in the body, and it will involve both. You will have both what you call acute complications that come there and then you have chronic complications that will take some time before they develop. In terms of acute complications, they can come with infections, they can come with pain, they can come with strokes, they can have issues with their chest, they can have a lot of complications basically from a system perspective. In terms of chronic complications, the strokes can result into a lot of neurological sequelae that makes their life complicated going forward. They can have eye issues, they can have lung issues, they can have heart failure, they can have kidney failures. Most of them have a vascular necrosis of their joints, makes it terrible for them to walk, and therefore, just to name a few. So which means that if you look at the condition all-roundedly, it means that sickle cell disease will have a lot of complications, both acute and chronic. Sickle cell disease is cared for largely in three main aspects. The first one being the care aspect, the second one being the diagnostic aspect, and the last one being the commodities aspect. I would say that the huge challenge and barrier to care for our patients is the commodities aspect. I know that through the Ministry of Health, we've been really trying to lobby to ensure that the Social Health Authority, and that's that the SHA, is able to cover our patients both in an outpatient and inpatient basis. Currently, it is doing a good job in inpatient basis, but we are still yet to hit that mark in the outpatient basis. We know that recently there has been some additions to the sickle cell package, which is a huge plus, especially from a national landscape. I know it is a continuous process, and hopefully in the next couple of years, we shall be in a better place with regards to the care of sickle cell disease.
Kongetege nganasetab Eldoret eng county nebo Uasin Gishu, kainenyu ko Jerotich Korir.
Ak eng logoiwek chotok chebo urerioshek ko yetesetai koname baraga maat eng urerioshekab World Cup ko koimuch kobelis emetab France yekongo belge ak emet notok nebo Norway eng golishek 4-1 ak kobelis emetab Senegal eng golishek 5-0 yekongo belge ak emetab Iraq koibelis emetab Spain yekongo belge ak emetab Uruguay eng golit 1-0 koba draw emetab notok nebo Cape Verde aga nebo Saudi Arabia koibelis emetab Belgium eng golishek 5-1 yekongo belgen ak emetab New Zealand aga kogerge emetab Iran ak Egypt golit 1-1. Ako yotok chitab kalenjin kokaketoche logoiwekab emet chebo Asai TV Kenya nekasomonwo ko Gladys Lembuch nomokwok weekend nenyitat kaberuret.